Good evening, Cityside75 here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over my pickups for the months of January and February of 2014. Now, I'm not including all pickups from February because there's still about a week left of February as I'm filming this. But I have enough pickups here that I felt like doing a pickups video now. So looking over my pickups real quick here, they came primarily from thrift stores and half-price books. So as we go through, I'll try to remember to tell you where I picked everything up and how much I paid for it. So first we've got this Conflict Zone. This was $2.99 at Goodwill. You know, I picked this up. I didn't know anything about this game. I picked it up mainly because the back of the box actually sounded kind of cool. Talked about manipulating the media in order to win the war, and sounded kind of interesting. I did a little research on it, and it actually turns out that it's a Dreamcast game that was only mediocre on the Dreamcast, and I think it's, you know, just as mediocre on the PS2. So I could have probably looked it up on my phone, but, you know, just decided to jump into it. Next we have Murakumo, Renegade Mech Pursuit, and this I got for $1.99 at Goodwill. And again, from what I've read after the fact on picking up this game, it doesn't seem like it's anything too great. The back of the box actually, again, kind of interested me. But yeah, this may be something I bundle or trade or something like that. Next we have Fable 2 on the Xbox 360. And this was picked up for $2 on clearance at half-price books. It actually didn't have a cover. It's just got the disc only. But I printed off a cover here, and it came out looking pretty good. Next we have The Club, and I guess I took the price tag off of this one. I know it was $2 or less, maybe just $1. Again, I believe it was at that same half-price books. You can see this thing has lived the life. It's got a sticker from Blockbuster. It's got a sticker from GameStop. It's got a sticker from half-price books. So yeah, this thing's been all around. I'm sure the trademark of a quality game when everybody, it's like a hot potato. But yeah, like I said, it was $1 or $2. It's a 360 game. It's a Sega game. It's called The Club. I remember hearing something about this. I think this is a pretty early 360 game here. Looking at it, it looks like 2007. So I guess that's more... Well, yeah, I guess that's fairly early for the 360. But yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be a great game. Now, this is supposed to be a great game, and I've actually never played any of the games in this series. This is Left 4 Dead. Now, this was picked up along with the next game I'm going to show you at this awesome disc replay in Aurora, Illinois. And if you're in the Chicago area, I highly recommend checking out that disc replay. The thing I really like about it is that they've got great selection. First of all, their prices are really good on a lot of games, and they're super organized. Everything they sell is really clean too, but the place is super organized. It's like looking through somebody's collection almost. I mean, they have all their Game Boy games in binders and their DS games in binders, the ones of course that don't have boxes, so that you can just flip through the binders and look at what, you know, just look at each game. Everything about that place is top-notch, high-class. So they had Left 4 Dead 2 for, I believe it was $12.99, something like that. And I do plan to pick that up eventually, and I know that Left 4 Dead 2 is the game to play. So from what I've heard, basically Left 4 Dead 2 does everything Left 4 Dead 1 did and more, but I figured for $6.99 it was a good point for me to jump into it. And I've got a buddy that's coming over, hopefully tomorrow, that we may play this game together. And at that same disc replay, I picked up Star Wars The Force Unleashed. And I did play this one for a little bit, and it's really cool. A guy here on YouTube named Satoshi Matrix, I believe it is, did one of his playthroughs on this game a while back, and the story really intrigued me. I had only heard so-so things about this game, but I mean, it did get pretty good reviews. But there's just nothing about it that had really attracted me too much. But when I saw that playthrough and I saw kind of the beginning of the story, I was intrigued. So I picked this one up for $5.99 for my PS3 games. That collection's now up to about 10 games or so. Maybe I have a couple loose ones as well. Okay, and this I just actually picked up today at Half Price Books. It's just a loose Lethal Enforcers. If you saw my collection video, you know I've got a boxed Lethal Enforcers for the Genesis with the Justifier in the box. And I don't have this game on the Sega CD, so I figured it was worth picking up since I do have the Justifier already. So that was $4.99. This one I picked up at Goodwill. It's You Don't Know Jack Mach 2 for the PlayStation. And this doesn't happen to me too often, but I got home and realized that I already had this game, unfortunately. I only paid $1.99 for it. So again, I may bundle this with a system I may sell, or put it up for trade or something like that. Let's see. Next at Savers, we got this Toka Race Driver 2 for the Xbox. I was happy with this one because, I believe, yeah, it came with 2 discs. So it came with the Toka Race Driver 2 disc, and then the full version of Colin McRae Rally. And at first I thought, oh, they just mistakenly put the discs in here, but it actually says right there on the front of the box that it includes the full version of Colin McRae Rally 404. So that was cool, and that was $2.99 at Savers. Also at Savers, I'm really not even sure why I bought this. It was also $2.99, and it's Pocket Bike Racer, the infamous Burger King Xbox and 360 games. You know, the only reason I picked this up is because it's still sealed. And it was just weird to run across one that was still sealed. And I'm sure that it's not going to be worth, you know, a dime long term because they made tons of these. But hey, you know, it's still sealed. I'll hold it in my collection for a while. Again, maybe I can find somebody that wants it just to have the sealed game or whatever. So $2.99. And then this one, you know, I picked this one up, this game for the PC, Dragon Age Origins. And as soon as I picked this up, I said to my wife, I said, you know, I want this game. It was $1.99, even though I know I'm never going to play it. And by never, I don't mean never. There's always the random chance that I may read something about it or see something about it and decide I'm just going to pop it in. But I'm not a big RPG player, and I have so many RPGs now that I've picked up just because I've heard so many good things about them. And, you know, I just don't finish too many of them. I made it, you know, maybe a quarter of the way through Skyrim. I made it maybe, I don't know, 10% of the way through Fallout 3. And a lot of older RPGs as well. So I know this is a long game, and it's got a lot to it. It's referred to as an epic right there on the back of the box. And yeah, I've got a lot of epics. So I probably won't play it, but for $1.99, I just figured I would take a shot on it. Next are 2 pieces of plastic that get referred to as gaming peripherals, and for some reason I bought them. 2 Wii steering wheels. And this is what, in my opinion, is about the correct price for these, always about $1.50 a piece. When they were new and they were trying to sell these for $15-20, whatever it was, for a piece of plastic, I just wouldn't have it. I never bought one of these. But now that they're going so cheap, I've been picking them up whenever I find them for, you know, $2 or less. I'm up to 3. I only need 1 more to play that mythical game of Mario Kart with 4 players all having 4 wheels. Next, I picked up a couple of relics from my childhood. And actually, both of these have kept me interested for more than just, you know, a minute here and a minute there. I think I played the first one I'm going to show you here for a good, you know, maybe 20 minutes to half an hour, maybe the first or second day that I got it. And it's Coleco's Electronic Quarterback. Now, this one works great. I think it has 1 LED that's out, and it doesn't have a battery pack, so we just put a piece of tape on there. But as you can see, I got it for $1.99, And, you know, looking them up on eBay, they don't sell for a fortune, but there's a definite market out there for these. And this one does work, so it's too bad it doesn't have the battery cover. But I had one like this. I had the Mattel Electronics version, the football one, football #1, the one that was white and didn't allow you to pass. So this one, I can remember when this one came out, and it was a step up that it had the ability you can pass. You can throw forward passes as well as run. And it had a little bit more detail than the football that I had. But then Mattel came out with Football 2, which was black. That one also had passing, and I want to say it was a little more advanced than this one. So just a little handheld history for you there. And then speaking of handhelds, I also picked up a Mattel Electronics basketball. And this was also $1.99 if I'm not mistaken. And this one does have the back cover on it. And this one I find interesting because in addition to the football game I was talking about earlier, another game that I had that Mattel made was Battlestar Galactica. And that game was really a very simple game. It only had 3 columns of LED lights, and you basically would shoot up and just try to take the ships out. But it was a really addictive game, and it was fun because you could memorize it and you could get really high scores. And playing this basketball, it actually plays similarly in a lot of ways. It's got a little bit bigger play field, which is nice, but you kind of move around, you kind of find open spots, and then you shoot at the basket, basically. And then getting the rebounds is actually kind of entertaining. So I was really happy with both of these, and like I said, I played them both for a fair amount of time, and I did actually have 9 volts sitting around, so that's why I was able to just pop them in too, because I had some 9-volt batteries sitting around. Okay, so next here, this was Half Price Books was just recently doing a big clearance on a bunch of accessories. Now, if you watched my collection video that I recently put up, one of the things that you saw from that was that I'm big into accessories. One of the things that I like to do with my collection is I like to try to put together the different configurations that the manufacturers put out there. Like, for example, with the GameCube and the Game Boy. And you've got the options where you can connect the GameCube to the Game Boy, or you can get the Game Boy player and play the Game Boy games on it. You can link the games in multiple different ways. Then there's also the link cables between the Game Boys. I like to have all those different options, again, when I find them cheap. So this was a great, actually, find here at Half Price Books, because these things were all $1 or less. I was really happy with these. And plus they were buried back in the corner, so nobody else saw them, I guess, when I went in there. I don't know if there'd be a big demand for these, but there's a market for all these things online. I did check. So the first one here is a Game Boy Advance link cable. And this is an official first-party one. Now, I think I have one of these already. I'll have to double check. But again, if you saw in my collection video, I've got a lot of Game Boy Advances that I've picked up lately. So either I can link some of them together for some of those 2-player games, or, you know, maybe sell a link bundle with some of the extra ones that I have there. The second one was a extension cable for the Atari 2600, or actually just any 9-pin connector. So Sega Genesis and things like that would work with it as well. But this was also $1, and we were actually playing some Atari this weekend and wishing that we had an extension cable when we were playing the Atari, because, you know, the controller cables on those joysticks are so short. So was happy to find this for $1. And then next up here, we've got another Game Boy link cable. This one's different, and I'm going to actually have to investigate what the difference is here, because it's got a couple different, and I don't know if you can see that, probably not, but it's got a couple different size connectors on each end, and they look like Game Boy connectors, and I don't know if it's for different models of the Game Boy or what exactly it is, but it was $1 again, so I figured I'd check it out, because I do have all the variations of the Game Boy, the original non-backlit one, the SP and the SP backlight one, and then I have a Game Boy Micro as well. So maybe this works between those, I don't know. And then this was probably the coolest of all the ones that I found. This is a Nyko PS2 to GameCube adapter. And again, if you watch my pickup video that I did last month, I picked up a Street Fighter arcade joystick, it's sitting right behind the camera right now, that's compatible with the PS2 and the Xbox. And now with this, it's compatible with GameCube as well. So very cool. I was very happy to again find this for $1. And then not real exciting here, but they also had some of these Wii controller sleeves, and it was a pair of them for 50 cents. So we have a couple Wii controllers that don't have these, so why not for 50 cents? Now, my one splurge of the month actually came as a result of me making a mistake. So I went to Half Price Books, and I'd picked up a Sega Saturn 4 megabyte memory card. My mistake was that I thought it was the infamous 4-in-1 or 5-in-1 Sega Saturn. I've never seen one of these things in real life, but the Sega Saturn memory card slash... I want to call everything a memory card. Memory expansion, memory card, and it also allowed you to play import games. So that's what I thought I got. And then as soon as I brought it home and I looked at it in more depth, I realized that it was actually just a 4 megabyte memory card for a Japanese Saturn. And so I wasn't even sure it would work with my Saturn. It probably wouldn't. And then on top of that, yeah, I don't really need that. And I had splurged because I thought it was that 4-in-1 or 5-in-1. So I had paid $20 for it. So I knew that I didn't want that once I saw it was just that. So I returned it, and I had the store credit. And then I just walked over to see if there was anything interesting, and someone must have just traded these in. Now, there are not a lot of games I think I would spend this kind of money on, so the timing was just perfect because I've never run into this game in the wild, and the price was right about at where I would have paid for it. And they had it underpriced, too. That's the thing. I checked when I got home, and it sells for more online. So, again, this Half Price Books, they're good. I've talked about them in other videos. They're good in that they price competitively, but they're smart in that they don't make too many mistakes. So the game I'm talking about after all that preamble is Panic for the Sega CD. Now, I am really excited to check this game out. This game just looks like a blast and like something really funny, especially if you've never played it before. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. Now, on the hardware side, I picked up 2 pieces of hardware this month. One of them I actually just got today, and it surprised me to run into it, and that is the old Toaster NES. And you can see here, it was $6.99 and minus 25%, so that actually works out to be like $5.25 or something like that. So for a real nice condition NES, I'll probably compare this to the condition of the one I currently have, which is pretty good, and keep whichever one is better. And then again, we'll see. I don't know what I'll do with this one. But yeah, good deal. Really happy to find that. And then finally, one of the more unusual things that you find, I've talked about this before on YouTube, but this is a Toshiba Nuon. And some of you probably know exactly what that is. I'm guessing there's some people out there that have no idea what a Toshiba Nuon is. This was a DVD player that had basically gaming hardware built into it. Now, the interesting thing, and I'm going to go ahead and put this down. The interesting thing about the Nuon was that it was designed by some of the same people that designed the Jaguar. And some of the software that's on it resembles a little bit more advanced Jaguar software. So if you're, an enthusiast of the Jaguar, and I think some of those guys also worked on the Lynx and maybe the Amiga. But if you follow that kind of thing, then it's interesting to kind of see that on the Nuon. So of course the best game on the Nuon is Tempest 3000, and I actually just posted a video of my game room playing that game. Actually was testing this thing out, that's why I put that on there. And yeah, it's got good graphics. It's definitely a step up from the Jaguar version, but other than that, the rest of the software released, I think there was only 5 or 6 games in total. I believe I have most of them. Again, they're all bootlegs, but it's all very mediocre and very generic and bland. So the thing is, though, that these are one of the more unusual consoles that you will run into, but they are like a stealth console, kind of like what the Laser Active probably was years ago when those things were hitting the thrift stores. The Nuons look just like regular DVD players. There's a couple things that give it away. Of course, you've got the Nuon logo right there. Also, if you notice, if you push this, then you get controller ports. Other than that, it looks just like a standard DVD player. So these things may end up sitting in with all the other DVD players, and not getting picked up. So that's how I found both of these now. They were just sitting in thrift stores. My first one, I think I got it for either 20 bucks or 10 bucks. And then this one I picked up for $14.99. So again, I'll probably look to sell that at some point or trade it. That, I believe, is it. Also want to just say a real quick welcome to some new subscribers that have come on lately, especially since I posted some recent videos, my collection video and things like that. So welcome. I am glad to have you watching the videos. I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. Coming up next, I'm probably going to be doing part 2 of my collection video. The garage, as I referred to in my first collection video, I've got a lot of stuff out there that I keep kind of, semi-organized in storage bins and things like that. But basically what I've tried to do is not collect too many duplicates of anything. But if I find different variants as I'm out of consoles, hardware, accessories, you've seen all the things I'm interested in, then I will pick those up. So for example, I've got quite a few different variants of the Sega Genesis, including the CDX that you saw and some other variations on the Genesis and the Sega CD. So in part 2 of my collection video, we'll be going through and looking at some of that stuff and some other things that I've got kind of set up around here. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.